for a check-in, aha, we could just say where we are, and probably most of us have answered Heinel's question already about where we are and how much snow there is. But since it's holiday season, maybe just mention something about the holidays that is especially meaningful for you. Um, and I'll start off because I'm a contemplative by nature. I'm a psychotherapist and an introvert, and I love the quiet, candlelit music services at church. I just love the quiet, and sometimes, there'll be no electric lights, just candles, and at the end of the service, it's just silent, which I particularly enjoy. So Keely, would you go next? And then when you're done, you can point out the next person and
So
just
my
say where
name,
you are and a meaningful thing at the holidays.
um, my name is Keely Parr. I'm physically located in Connecticut right now. Um, and my favorite thing about the holidays is my aunt and uncle's Italian cooking.
Mm, nice. And I'm in Gloucester, Massachusetts, by the way. I'm not sure I mentioned that. So would you ask someone else to check in? Keely, can you point to someone else to check in? We'll
Oh,
just let each person point to the next person.
sure. Easy. Did I pronounce your name right?
It's pronounced Ezzy, but
All right.
close.
Ezzy, sorry about that.
You're good. You're good. Yeah, I'm Ezzy. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Just finished the semester, so I think for me right now, it's about kind of learning that kind of that enjoyment of rest and silence, I guess. I think that I've been very, very busy for like basically all year. And so like winter break is that first time that I'm kind of like actually just have time to sort of just walk at the park for and not be like, what's the next thing I'm gonna do today? So it
Mm.
was nice. I went on a walk, looked at some ducks. It was very wonderful. I just like watching animals a lot. I learn a lot from them. So
Got it. Thank you. And so who would
oh
you like to
yes,
go
and
next?
then how we get let's get Lisa. Not to put
Thank
you on the
you.
spot.
That's all right. Izzy, did you say?
Ezzy, Ezzy.
Ezzy, just like it looks. Okay. Um, Hi, everybody. I'm in San Francisco. I'm sitting in my living room looking out on the drizzly day. Uh, it's not very cold, but drizzly. And about the holidays, I'm Peter's partner, one of the co founders of PISLAP, and he passed away 3 years ago. So I try to maintain all our rituals. And as a Gentile, I now have to set up menorah and candles, and I don't know what I'm doing. But I do know that you set them up right to left and light them from left to right. However, I didn't. I want them in the window, so then I had to Google. Well, how do you do it if do it on the way that the viewer sees it or the way you see it? And so I had to do a little research and figured out it's the way I see it, if anybody was wondering. So even in a window, you keep it the same. Uh, and that's my holiday story.
Thank you.
Uh, and um, Joseph, how about you?
Hi, I'm Joe, and I'm in Hastings on Hudson, New York, which is just north of New York City. And one of my favorite things is when my kids come visiting us for Hanukkah, and we light the candles that you were just talking about, and then also I make potato latkes, which is one of my favorite things to make, and everybody seems to like it. So it's always a fun time. And I'll pass it along to uh, Deborah.
Hi, I'm Deborah Hamilton, and I'm in Eastern North Carolina, a little town called Morehead City. just above Wilmington, below the Outer Banks. I was originally from New York, near you, Joseph, because I was in Armonk, which is sort of on the other side of Westchester County. And the tradition we always do is go for our Christmas trees after Thanksgiving, not before, although here in North Carolina, they were all up like the middle of November. It really drove me nuts. So that's the tradition. I think that's what I came on a little late and I apologize. I think that's what the question we were doing. And I practice a certain niche kind of practice in that I help people in conflict over animals. So in divorce, landlord tenant, breeder owner handler, vet malpractice, instead of litigating, which creates so much more issue, I help the people be the person their pet thinks they are.
That would be brutal, figuring out with a dog.
I know, right? And I
don't want to think about it.
Yeah. Rand, do you wanna come over and chat with us?
Unmuting you. Trying to see what you can say.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, we're having some. I'm hooked up to the dialysis right now, and I'm having some trouble getting connected. So I think I'll just skip over me for now, and I'll participate when I can.
Well, sending
So
you
just know that you're welcome, Rand. You are
Thank you.
welcome here. Yeah.
Thanks very much.
And we tried to contact Perry, but Perry's not been feeling well, so he might not be conversant. It looks like he just disappeared. So, Heino or Hans, how about a holiday for you? And then we'll let Lisa kick off the program for today.
Yeah, thanks. So I have really two souls, two memories or two things vibrate. One is like probably for most of it, there's kind of a childhood looking back at the past. So for my family, the time between Christmas and New Year's was kind of a sacred time. It was interesting. It reminds me of the time between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It's like that because there are no, in Germany at that time, the shops are closed for 3 days in a row, and so it really everything shuts down, kind of. And I'm missing that a lot, I have to say. There's no tradition of slowing down in American culture. It just doesn't exist. So, and I appreciate that about your group here, that you emphasize that slowing down, which is really nice. The other piece that is, well, in that is my struggle with when Gloria, my wife Gloria, who is Jewish, says, "Oh, it is so Christian with all the lights and stuff." I always dispute this is not Christian. There's nothing Christian about it. And it's about Jesus. Yeah, well, people barely know that it's about Jesus. And Jesus was not born so we can give each other expensive presents. I mean, this is not the point of it at all. And so for me, this is unfortunately the public holiday is not a Christian holiday the way it's being celebrated. There's nothing Christian about it. And so, yeah, so the other very pleasant memory that is wonderful is I have two grandchildren now. They both live in San Francisco. We had the lighting of the first Hanukkah candles, and I was still there in San Francisco the night I left. I'm now in Montreal for a few days. I'm flying back tomorrow. And I have wonderful people here that I work with. I'm very happy. And I'm just going to add one more thing. I really appreciate you guys a lot. I just want to say that it's really wonderful to be welcomed here.
So, Nanette, the check-in was just a question about holidays and what's particularly meaningful for you. And we also need to welcome Twyla here.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Very sorry to be late. I had a client meeting that went over. Well, I think just the feeling of, and which is particularly poignant and with everything that's happened over the last week of just a sort of feeling of peacefulness and kind of spiritual presence that can be at this time when people are more at peace and quieter and more connected to each other. So I do appreciate that, and the whole concept of the lights and the solstice so yeah, and maybe others have said that. I'm sorry I missed everybody's check-in, but wonderful to be here.
And Twyla, are you there with us? And can you say where you are and maybe just something that's meaningful about the holidays for you?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can.
Can you see me?
No.
No,
Can
Oh,
imagine
okay.
you though.
but I know what you look like.
Well, that's good. I guess. Um, the holidays for me have been really, really full so far, mostly with family things. It is making me think a lot about community and the way I am connected with people and what we all have in common going through these things now. And I constantly wear a pin that I have that is a white dove of peace.
Indeed. Thank you. So, Lisa, I think you're up to kind of let us know what we're in for here and to talk about what you're up to because it sounds wonderful. It does.
Thank you. Thank you so much, you guys. It's nice to be back with everybody. And I wanted to say a little bit about Heino. I mean, for some reason, I'm emoting this year, finally. But anyway, dear friend of Peter's, who I think they met almost 50 years ago, right, Heino?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yeah.
1980, I think I met him. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
or maybe
When his
81. At
ideas
the
were
end of
formulating.
1980, I met him.
So that's 45 years, right?
Yeah.
So the two of them, I think, influenced each other hugely. And I would suspect that what we are doing today, which was really a brainchild of Nanette's and Peter's, the PISLAP work, was influenced heavily by Peter's and Heino's relationship 45 years ago. And so I just wanted us all to know who we're here, who we're listening to today. And I would say that Heino came to the United States and immediately met Peter because of his interest in critical legal studies, which Peter was a co-founder of. And I won't tell this wonderful story on this call, but another time. And prior to that, he had been a committed Maoist organizer. And was that during or before law school, Heino?
That was during law school. That was
During.
my main
Okay.
job, my part-time job in the evening.
When did you do your homework? Anyway.
Yeah.
So he came here as a radical intellectual lawyer, and the two of them met and worked together. And Heino worked with Peter at New College, where Peter taught contracts for 40 years, among many of his other responsibilities. And they stayed friends. And over the years, Heino began to be interested in running or becoming an entrepreneur, which he is now. And he does work around the world. I would say advising people on how to work together. Is that correct? On an international scale. How would I describe that?
A little bit, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I've always been friends with Heino and his wife Gloria and their children and their grandchildren, but it wasn't until Peter died that I ended up getting really close with you guys. And we were sitting around one day talking to each other about, because we live right near each other, about all these people who are lonely and scared and worried about the Trump situation. And then Heino said, it's not that different from when the Nazis were in power in Germany, what's happening now. And so we decided to have a little meeting with whoever wanted to come, all the lonely, isolated, scared people we invited, to a meeting called Sliding into Dictatorship. And excuse me, it was extremely well attended, and people were so pleased to be in a room with other people and to start to reduce the isolation they felt. And we were like, wow, maybe we should meet again. And we ended up having monthly meetings in the community that were getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And finally, before the next meeting, we were thinking about what the topic should be. And this is when all the judges who were ruling against Trump's, what do you call those? What does he do? He issues what from the White House? I can't remember.
Executive order.
Orders.
Executive
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nina. And then the judges who ruled against them, and the threats against them and their children, which were and the rest of their family, were so upsetting that we came up. I think we were talking to Bruce, the judge who is on PISLAP, and we learned that when he got a postcard for supporting him on a decision he made years ago, it was such a comfort to him. And so we discussed sending postcards to the judges and attorneys who were representing law firms that were being threatened. My son's leaving. Bye, sweetie. See you soon. That we thought we'd try this postcard thing. So Heino got online and taught himself how to do a little graphic, and we ended up putting out these postcards. Also, simultaneous to the PISLAP effort, I think, was around the same time. And it's become it's just like hotcakes. These postcards are flying off the shelves wherever we put them in bookstores and whatnot. And I do think that Heino will report on this, but I think it's been effective. We've heard from some lawyers like, God, I keep getting all these postcards of appreciation. Why is this happening? So it's really fun. And so my dear friend Heino will tell you more about it. Take it away, Heino.
Thank you. Let me just put the camera back up. So we're going to divide this up into at least two phases. And one is in general what we're doing at Times Square Democracy, we call it, and the postcards specifically. And I'm going to start with the postcards and the practicalities of it. And because that's really what we need to get to. And then I would like to, it occurred to me in the preparation, and Nanette, when you said I should invite the people on the mailing list for our group in general. I started doing it this morning, so this is very late, a very late invite. It went out an hour ago or so. But there were a bunch of people interested, and we should probably, we should think about having, just for our sake of Times Square, a monthly call like this, or maybe every 2 months, just as a check-in, because the way you're doing this is really great with the check-in in the beginning. I really appreciate it now. I'm an impatient guy, so for me it's always a challenge to listen to everybody and okay, what are we going to do next? But it's really important to set the mood, and we don't have enough of that. And it is part of what we're trying to do. So I'm going to show you first our website. So I'm going to share my screen. When I share my screen, I cannot see you. So if you're not going to be able to see it, I think maybe I can. So right now you see yourself double probably. So let me go over where you see our website. So here's our website. Can you see my screen? I don't hear anybody.
Yes, I'm sorry. I know we can see your I can see your
Yes.
screen.
So if you want to communicate with me, nodding is not useful because I cannot see your faces. I just see my own screen. Okay, so you see here the URL, townsquaredemocracy.com. And you see here this one option, get your postcards. And I just want to get the logistics of this right so you can get there. So if you click on get your postcards, there are three options here. How to get your cards, and then where to send your cards. We have two different cards. Or one is for judges. Here's the one for judges. Can you see this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the other one is the one for the lawyers. And this should be, here is the one for lawyers. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And we're thinking of making another one for like administrators or something, or just legal professionals. So that's what it is. And then you have here the courageous judges is a list that you can see on the screen. And for each of the judges, we have a name, we have an address of the courthouse, and we have a short description of why we put him here or her. And then in many cases, not in all of them, we put a URL where you can see more about it. And I think the total list, and we update this list fairly frequently. So this is the one from November now. We had two other ones before. We're gonna find a more regular, I don't know if it moves over to the right here. Yes, it does. Sometimes we have pictures. And then we also have, so the way the website works is when you click on it, it opens a new URL. So you can close it then or leave it open. And there's an option here to download this as an Excel file. And then you get an Excel file. And as you can see, I've done this already a bunch of times because we need to test it. And then you have an Excel file, and that goes wherever you put it. And then you can print that file yourself if you want to. That's the logistics of getting. Okay, it doesn't open it. Here we go. So now I have the same file that I looked at, and I have it now by myself, and now I can make it bigger, or I can print it out, whatever I want to do. You can share it with other people. And the same thing for the lawyers. So that's the logistics of getting the data, the logistics of getting the cards we need to discuss because we don't have a distribution system yet that is easy. So I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second, or maybe we should do that later. Let me just
I
stop
know,
sharing.
just a quick question, which
Yes,
is
please.
if people want to reference back to some of the earlier postings about judges, because there's been so much that happened, do you store those on the website anywhere, or are they just taken off at this point?
No, we do. Okay, let's go over the website a little more then. So the website also has stuff that I am going through right now, how it works. Here's like postcard. It's really, so we got some feedback that people really like colorful. The lawyers especially, they call us sometimes. From judges, we only have third or second-hand information. But one or two of them talked about when the kids fill out and they put like a sun or something else, like kids' drawings on them. They show it in the chambers. So they have these cards sitting there, and the law firms have these cards in the front office sometimes because they're pretty cards, and they're nice. So this is here. This is on the website. Here's how it works. Oops, with the postcards. And then we have here stories on judges. This is not the complete list. We had another list. So the complete list of what we had before. So here's like Trump administration fired immigration judges. Now we don't have the list on here, but we put articles here. This is Judge Immergut. And so let me just say, if you have specific ones where you want to write an article about it, like you're really
Judge,
welcome to do
by
that.
the way, Judge Dugan's trial is this week. Somebody wrote into PISLAP to alert us to that.
Okay, yeah. So we have her here. We should send. She was on our list earlier.
Yeah,
So
she's on trial right now.
the direct answer to your question is we do have it, but I don't think it's on the website, and it is a good idea
Okay,
to put it
that's
there.
fine.
May I say something, Heino?
Please, Lisa.
I wanted to say that one of the attorneys who, I don't know if he taught at New College or went to New College, but he represented Kilmar Garcia Abrego. Is that his
Yeah.
name?
Yeah,
And
Elias
that
is it, right? Mark Elias.
and Van Hart,
Yes.
yeah. And
Yeah.
he this is that unbelievable situation where the guy was sent to the detention center in El Salvador, and we finally got him out. Mark, or this attorney we're talking about, finally got him out. He got here, and then they sent him again to another detention center in the United States, threatening to send him to I forgot, was it Uganda? Which he had no real connection to. And just recently, as you may all know, he was finally released because a judge who is now being tried released him. But that attorney is the one who gets all these postcards, and he was saying, "Where are all these postcards coming?" He was so thrilled but perplexed. It was really nice. So it works.
I think the first 3,000 of our postcards went out without saying who we are.
Mm. Oh yeah, right.
So it didn't have any QR code on it, nothing. And so people were a little surprised that they got all these cards with no return. I mean, they didn't know what it was about. And then they figured it out, they Googled it, and we got emails. So we are still learning about that. It's also the whole website is in a process of getting redone. Joseph, you wanted to say something.
First, let me just say this is wonderful. Thank you so much for doing this, for organizing this. And I have two questions. The first is there some place on the postcard to write like what it is we're acknowledging them for?
Yes.
Yes, on the back. Actually, let me go back and share my screen. See, you probably noticed that I really appreciate questions. So you can interrupt me anytime. I think Lisa and I were both not especially shy about speaking up. So this is the front, this postcard slide. Do you see it? The the
Yes.
lawyer's
Yeah.
one. And on the back, this is the back of it. And this is the newer one that has already an email address and our website on it. It still doesn't have a QR code on it, which we really want to, but next round. So this is where you write stuff. And you saw on this one flyer that I showed you that, you can write small things. We have one where we talk about if you want our suggestions, what to write. But it should be if you find yourself that you can get it should you should put your own um, thoughts on it. It doesn't have to be anything specific. Like I think we have one here where how it works, why the next steps. There's one of them where we have what to write on it. It's more or less thank you very much. I mean, is that what you wanted to know?
Yeah, thank you. That's what I
Okay,
wanted
you're
to know.
welcome.
I had one other question, which
Yes,
is
please.
so I mentioned this to someone, another lawyer, because I think it's such a great idea, and her response was, but don't you think some judges would be uncomfortable receiving this because they view themselves as impartial in applying the law, and
Yeah.
they don't want it to appear that they're taking sides, or acting politically. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering how you respond to someone with that concern.
Yeah, I really appreciate that question. I sound like a politician now. That's the first thing you have to ask with difficult, I have to say, is this is such a great question. And then I should say, and in my book, I have a whole chapter on it. Um, but we do have an article on it. So our website is quite confusing right now. So I'm just going to tell you what that article talks about. This was one of the concerns we had. So we have a strict rule. We are not asking for any future decisions. We we thank them for what they have done, and we thank them more in general terms that they have stood up for the rule of law and for democracy in the Constitution. We don't thank them for breaking specific rules or something. The part where and we checked also, and we still don't know exactly how many of these cards get through. So we're trying to figure out, because they all go through the court, through some official system, and you probably have more connections to judges than we directly do. And we are in the process of trying to identify, because sometimes these cards get held up. If they land in a general pool. What we heard from the judges in San Francisco, they got them. Now we don't know if they got all of them. It's hard for us to know because we don't know where you're sending them to. This whole, but the topic of making them uncomfortable is why we're sending all cards to the official court. We don't send anything to them, to the personal addresses. We don't send personal emails or anything. All the cards go to the official court address. And we were told that is the correct way to do it. I mean, no one has told us that this is, and we're not saying, okay, here's, if you do this or that, you're going to get a lot more postcards or something. So we are not trying to influence specific decisions,
Right.
but we are
Right.
trying to influence them to have a spine, that they feel not alone in being there in front of these challenges.
Yeah, and may I say, having spoken to Bruce, one of the leaders of PISLAP, who is a retired judge, we heard from him that we suspected that all of us going into an office together and saying how much we appreciate a judge would be a bad idea, but that postcards would be fine because it does not call for the judge to respond to us directly. It only lets them know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
This is Keely. Just one more thing on that. I mean, I wouldn't send it to a judge that I would appear before, but if I've
Right.
never appeared before a judge, then that's fine because we're just saying we appreciate the rule of law, not necessarily how they ruled in a specific matter.
Right.
And then in New York, if you're licensed in New York, there's an ethics hotline that you could always call and just get an opinion if you don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. An opinion if you don't feel comfortable. What does that mean?
So let's
I'm not a
just
lawyer.
say you don't know. So I'm sorry. In New York, New York regulates, there's like a commission on ethics, and they have an attorney of the day. So let's just say I want to send a postcard, to Judge so and so, but I'm not sure if there's some kind of ethical dilemma with it. So I could call what's called the attorney of the day, and they could give me an opinion on that.
I see. Thank you. I see.
Thank you, Lisa.
So you see her on the website. I mean, right now you see these different ones, and here's one on the just kind of stories. And these I find interesting here. There's one member who just every week she sends us. She's so in dismay. She just copies all these newspaper articles and sends us a whole for the week everything. So our organization and our website is built to give people, our people, comfort, and the judges and the lawyers support that they don't feel alone, but also that we don't want to feel alone either. So if, a lot of people don't know what they can do right now, and one of the things is they can do to write the postcards or to share their dismay with us. I mean, that's all. And then we have some articles here. There's one that I said about the blindfold of the judges, and that not everybody is comfortable to stand up for the rule of law, because the rule of law is the law of the ruling classes. And how do we deal with that? And how do we think about it? And that law without justice is not necessarily the laws that we fight for. So there's this whole tension in our conversation that we need to
gives
deal
me the
with.
heebie-jeebies.
I think
The term gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. So there's a few others where I also wrote about that we don't want to continually go into the hooray stuff, but more, here's something more about independent justice. I don't know. It's not very well organized. The one thing to mention is that we took a lot of inspiration from the Polish judges who organized themselves over a period of 8 years. They had to fight an attempt of dictatorship in Poland. And the judges actually organized. Eventually, they had a March of the Robes, which was 1,000 judges marching through the capital in Warsaw in their robes, standing up for justice. And we are a long way of that. But we do have, by now, it's about 120 or so judges, federal judges, that have made decisions against a Trump administration, which is it's not the majority of judges, and not everybody gets to do that. And some judges decide for Trump sometimes and sometimes against Trump. So the purpose, so this is about the logistics of the postcards, and what we need to decide is how you're going to get the postcards. And right now, we don't have a distribution system in place, but we are in the process of setting it up, that you can order the postcards from a print shop called Signs of Justice in Portland. They will have these postcards and they can print them out. The alternative would be that we send to you individually or to your organization a bunch of postcards. We are giving them out for free. The print shop is going to charge for them about, I don't know, 30, 40 cents a card. And that includes then the shipping cost, I think. So it's going to cost them $20 for 20 cards or 50 cards. It's about that. Now, if with a higher volume, it gets a lot cheaper. We order the cards by the thousands. So we get 1,000 cards for $70 or for $90. So it's about not even 10 cents a card.
And the sender has to pay the postage.
The sender has to say the poster has to pay the postage. Now we're leaving it up, so we have had a bunch of discussions about it, and we will have 3 models available, and we can kick this off very quickly. One is for a group like maybe yours, but you're all in different places, so it's slightly different. So we could send a bunch of cards to a group address, 500 or something, and then you distribute them. Or we can send you the template, the artwork itself, and you can send it to be printed. And we can tell you where to send it to be printed. And the third one, the most expensive one, is that you order them from that print shop. Now, because we don't have that quite set up right now, I think Lisa and I can get our act together, and if we get a list of people here on this call that want like 10, 20, 30 cards, we can just mail them directly to you guys, and we can do that. We don't want it, that's not scalable really, because we don't want them, if there's dozens and hundreds of people. But for the group here, I would just like to know because I think we talked about it last time, because otherwise Nanette would be stuck with doing that mailing. And I don't know if you have, if one of you wants to be the central point and then do the mailing out, or I just would like to resolve that issue because otherwise you don't have the cards.
I'll be the point person for PISLAP. How's that? So Nanette doesn't have to do it.
So you would mail them out to the individual
Mail them
people.
to other PISLAP people who want to either who
Right.
personally want to
Okay.
send them or who know people who would want to send them.
Okay.
But I would
So
need people to
oftentimes,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, so then I would suggest that you put in the chat right now,
Exactly. Yeah.
if you want them. And a lot of people, and for the holidays, that's why this is good. You organize, you go to family parties, family events, and so forth. And, people, we still have 1,000, I think we have about 1,000 cards left. But this would probably kick it if we need to order new ones. We are at around 5,500 now that we have sent out. Wow, there's a lot of noise here, though. My client's company has some Christmas event, I think. I hope it doesn't disturb you.
I don't hear anything.
We don't hear it. Yeah.
Okay.
5,500 is very impressive, though. That's a large
Yeah, it's
number.
a lot, and that's why we want to scale it in different ways. So let me get to. So if you want to ask questions about the logistics of it, please do. Otherwise, I would like to get to the second topic. It's more what I would like to see to collaborate with our Times Square group to collaborate with your group, which I have high hopes for.
Lisa,
I would like to.
Lisa, can you put how we could get in touch with you in the chat if we want?
Absolutely. And
Okay.
I also wanted to say, to add to Heino's presentation, we've gone, I'm sorry I'm on, you can't see me, but I'm having difficulty stabilizing the situation.
I see you.
Okay, I just came on, yeah. I wanted people to know that in addition to this direct connection that Heino's talking about to lawyers and judges, we're also doing the same thing with lawyers who are representing, for example, science researchers, whose funding has been withdrawn, and they're spectacular attorneys doing brilliant work that has succeeded so far in getting back $1 billion for researchers. So we write to them too. So it's not, in other words, there's a sort of you wouldn't think of them as the person we would write to in this, given the description, but we're now branching out into other areas so that, anyway, addresses more of the things that Trump is trying to destroy. So, yes, I'm putting my contact information in the chat. Here I go.
Look, I should just add to that because I forgot to mention that. So we are expanding. We have already, you see the list right now here. This is the lawyer list. And the latest lawyer list, we have James Comey on there, and we have Leticia James on there. So these are not all lawyers. So we have Stanford Law School is on here, and they have a separate list. We have another list now for the science. And so we started out with the lawyers, but we are trying to support people in the institutions that hold up the state and that are either pillars of dictatorship or pillars of democracy. We're trying to encourage people to live up to the oath that they took when they got their job, or to the promise that they took when they made the job, which is to work for the people and not to work for just their own profit. And that includes people that are in government institutions, in universities, in schools, and we are reaching out to businesses. So, because you know that I'm from Germany and that you don't know much about my family, but you can imagine that if you are born at my time in Germany, the Holocaust and what happened during the Nazi time is kind of the legacy that I'm coming from. And part of in the reckoning was how the German business did not only not stand up against Hitler, but they collaborated with him left and right. German businesses, American businesses also, but certainly without the business support, a dictatorship cannot succeed. And so we need to work with that. And yeah, I mean, we're just a small group, so we're trying to do what we can do. So if I get back to what I would love to see is, so our town square group in a way has a similar aspect to it as PISLAP, which is community building. It is not directly connected to spirituality, but it is connected to grounding. We need to ground ourselves in our own, let's call it psyche, in our own humanity in order to support and build democracy. We are supporting people who go into the streets and march and do all kinds of stuff. That's not our main purpose as a group. So we are trying to provide a community for people to find that grounding and reach out to others because we need to rebuild democracy. Trump is not the key cause of what's going on. He's an expression of it, but it's not the underlying cause goes way deeper. We have taken democracy for granted. We have taken our freedoms for granted, and I think this expression is an American expression also. It's not a spectator sport. Democracy is not a spectator sport. You need to be active in it. And that is painful. It takes up time. It's aggravating. It's much easier to watch cat videos all day long. But that's not going to hold up democracy. So there's a whole other world attached to this, communications, social media. There's a whole other world, attention spans. Even yeah, to you, I can talk here. Appreciation of body and nature. These things that we believe in this circle here that are really critical for a human society. And we do believe that most people have that built into their psychic makeup. Maybe not everybody, but most people do. So we do want to talk to people who are on the other side. We don't want to polarize more. So we just had a session on how to deal with the MAGA, with the cracks in the MAGA coalition and what we can do about Marjorie Greene and Taylor Greene and some others who are standing up in Indiana. It's also that we need to think about what will happen after Trump and all these people are embarrassed. What happens then? Because it will not last forever. So we need to have a view here, and the community building is really the key aspect of it. So what I would like to figure out, if we can use you, if you can be instigators beyond being in PISLAP in your communities, because it's not a legal professional issue, it's really a community issue. And that's what we're looking for is to encourage. And we were lucky. So Lisa and I are neighbors and we were friends before. And so we had a bunch of other friends we hung out with all the time. But if you don't have that, you don't have that. But if you do, even maybe if it's not in the same location, I would encourage you to think about it because that's really the scaling that we're looking for. That communities can talk to each other. And we have 3 models now developed that we're thinking of, 3 modes, let's call it this way. One is these big panel discussions, which we call town square, where you have people who speak to us and you can have question and answers, but it's not really sharing. The second one is probably what we have here, which would be a living room conversation where everybody can share, but you don't really talk strategy because it's still too many people. And we had those about the MAGA and then we have the third, which we called kitchen table conversation. And there you have 3, 4 people. And now you can actually talk it through. What do we do here? What do we do there? So I just offer that as help, and we can, if you're interested, we can certainly help out, and our website should be able to be used for that. That's why we're scaling it up. That's what we're trying to do. The other thing that we're trying to do, and where you can probably directly help, we're trying to set up meetings and panel discussions in law schools. So we're now in touch with Stanford, and I think Berkeley, Bolt Hall, and Stanford, and Los Angeles also. And we're trying to invite this Mark, I forgot his last name, the judge who resigned in Florida, I think. And we're contacting him. Will he speak? So that would be the other thing. You are all probably connected to some law school where you went, and it would be interesting to find out. So I stop right there.
May I add, Heino,
Yes.
that first of all, Heino, I don't know if you know, but the man who started Braver Angels, where he had
Yes.
Hillary supporters and Trump supporters ending up talking to each other, spoke to us 3 years ago, right, Nanette? Or 2.5 years ago. I don't remember his name,
Yes.
but so Duncan, yeah. So go ahead. You're going to say something, Duncan.
Oh, no, I just wanted to say, yes, I remember his name is Doherty.
Thank you.
And yeah, he's a splendid guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
those
then
are
the
good
other
people.
thing that I wanted to add to Heino's, because Heino's always looking at the more crystal, what should I say, more absolute version of this problem of speaking with people with whom you disagree. But I am always saying, we in San Francisco in particular, we have to get the moderates and the progressives to talk to each other, because we keep fighting with each other. We're never going to be able to get it together and beat Trump's people. Or I shouldn't speak that way on PISLAP calls, but that's how I talk, because I'm a union organizer. Yeah, so that's the other fractured nature of the situation that we try to address, if that made sense.
So I just looked at all the chats here. There's a lot of stuff there. We cannot answer all of that. So I just wanted to answer one is if you want to add things, if you want to add lawyers or judges to our list, please send us an email. You can send it to me or to Lisa, and we will put it on there. The other one is, certainly everybody can send the postcards, not just lawyers. In fact, it is it's more awkward sometimes for lawyers to send the cards because they might get involved. So it's really meant for engaging the public into the defense of an independent judicial system. That's really the main purpose, to reach out, because normally judges are very awkward in public. They're not used to speaking in public, and many lawyers are not used to that either. The other thing is, I really suggest, Nanette, we should think about setting up another call, because there's so many great ideas that I see in the chat here that we should incorporate in what we do as Town Square, and I really want to understand that more. And if there's interest in doing another call like this in the middle of in a month from now, we should certainly do that and get your input on it. And also what you would want to see on the website better. So if we get this, so Lisa, you got to turn off your camera. I'm getting really dizzy. So once we get over, so Lisa is going to get you the postcards. You know how to get the addresses. And that's a good step, a good first step. And please, maybe you can send all your comments right now and what we should do together to Nanette, and she can collate it or somebody. Because I'm still working full time as you know, and so we don't have a lot of time. We need to be really efficient and assign it to other people who have time. But the ideas that I see here are really great ideas. Um, yeah, and there's a lot of organizations. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel or something. The main thing really we're trying to do is get the public involved, the people who are not involved with the judiciary system to stand up. That's really the main thing. Duncan, you raised your hand.
Yeah, one of the things that I've been thinking about, and this conversation certainly stimulates those thoughts, is that the division here is not between Democrats and Republicans. It's
Exactly.
people who support democracy and people who don't.
Yeah.
And that's a fundamental shift, I think. And so I think if we can reframe the conversation so that that's what PISLAP and Town Square are standing for
Correct.
is justice and democracy, I think that has a lot more traction.
Okay. No, that's exactly the point. So we are collaborating with Indivisible as an organization because a lot of people there actually have the same thoughts that we do. It's a really interesting thing. Um, like, but we are clearly from the start to the end, we are nonpartisan. So we're not going to do voter registration or that kind of thing. Um,
May, uh,
yes, Lisa.
I'm sorry. So sorry about that distraction. Um, the idea just went out right. Oh, I know what it is. What we were in the discussion, Heino talked about where we were discussing the cracks in the MAGA movement in our last meeting. It was very much about how do we work with people who we disagree with on every other issue except for this one, which is, are we going to salvage the democracy? And that means with the judge who ruled in favor of Citizens United has been threatened by Trump. And so we have included him on our list, which is really hard to take. But that's what we're looking at. That's the kind of thing you have to stomach to do this, or I have to stomach. And so it's hard work.
Yeah, it's the thinking. I'm just imagining, the analysis and thinking about what judges, what lawyers should be included. What does it mean to stand up as a courageous judge or
Right.
attorney? So even like the reflection on what that means is, I guess, a part of what you're raising, Heino and Lisa. That
Exactly.
yeah.
And we, right now it's all by the seat of our pants, I guess. We don't have a great way of systemic way. We have now a few more people who really like these kind of conversations. Most people just want to do something. And we are more in the thoughtful mode. So I just wanted to ask before we end here, we have not put any of you on our mailing list unless you requested it. So we have our mailing list, you have your mailing list. If you want to be on our mailing list where we send out invitations, because we do a lot of stuff over Zoom, please let us know. Some it's late for you, but it's not going to be,
Can we
sometimes
sign up on the website?
you can sign up on the website or send us an email or put it in the chat here or tell Nanette about it.
Here's I just put the link up from the website about where if people want to sign up to be on the mailing list, they can sign up.
So I need to run probably, I think.
Well, Heino and Lisa, thank you so much. Thank you very, very much for sharing yourselves, sharing this work. And I think the conversation was broad and rich. So yes, it would be wonderful if we think we can deepen it and come back together again in the new year. I'd be happy to do that.
Great.
And I'll send up a follow-up note to the few folks. I think there were just 2 people who put their name in the chat that wanted some follow-up, but if anybody else does. Also, you can email us at PISLAP and, afterwards. I'm just putting our email address in here. And thank you, everyone. And
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the Yiddish word is chutzpah, right? So I'm
Chutzpah,
just
yes.
really
Courage.
pleased with your level of chutzpah. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's extremely
Thank
intense.
you. I'm a little intense. Okay.
Right.
Take
All right.
care. Back to
Bye,
work. Okay.
friends.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank
All
you,
Thank
right.
you
Thanks,
everyone.
all.
everybody.
Thank you,
Bye.
Pie
Thank
Slap.
you.
Thanks.